Good, good. Glad you guys are here. Let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture, assuming that you're confident that your devices have been silenced, cell phones and whatnot. If we are confident, let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture, taking care to ensure that your spine is straight and relaxed. When you're ready, please go ahead and settle into, please go ahead and bring your awareness to the exhalation of your breath and allow your exhalation to be just a bit longer and a bit more pronounced than your inhalation. Please experiment with pausing briefly at the bottom of each exhalation. When you're ready, please go ahead and transition into meditation on the inner body. Become the silent observer of sensations within your inner body. Allow yourself to be interested in the sensations that you observe, keenly interested. No commentary is necessary. No labeling is required. Just take an interest in these sensations as you silently observe. To support you in your meditation, perhaps even to inspire you in your meditation, you may find it beneficial to bring to mind the image of a mountain. There's no more compelling example of quiet stillness than the mountain. And if the mountain has consciousness, you can know that all it does, day after day, year after year, century after century, is observe silently. Rain may fall on the mountain or not. The wind may blow. The sun may shine. Shadows may appear on the surface of the mountain, created by clouds floating overhead. The mountain simply observes with perfect equanimity. No hope, no fear, no praise, no blame, no expectation. Be like a mountain. Be like a mountain with ancient Zen consciousness as you silently observe sensations within your own body mountain. Now, very gently, in stages, please allow your consciousness to become less absorbed as you start to arise from meditation. We dedicate all of the merit, all of the merit from this morning's meditation to world peace. May all beings without exception be completely free from all forms of mental and physical suffering. May all beings without exception be happy, peaceful, contented, and free. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Thank you. Thank you, and welcome back. So we might think of our consciousness when thinking about our consciousness, we could regard this state of non-conceptual awareness as being our baseline. That's our baseline consciousness from which everything else arises. This state of consciousness that is completely free of thought. Thinking mind becomes involved, and then a building takes place, construction starts to take place. Ideas, beliefs, concepts, judgments, labeling, everything starts to is built from this basis of non-conceptual awareness. So this non-conceptual awareness, this state of consciousness, is in the nature of quiet stillness and spacious clarity. Very, very blissful, based in wisdom. And I believe that the meaning of our human life is to experience this state of non-conceptual awareness at deeper and deeper levels. And the thinking mind is involved because we do conceptualize, we do come up with theories and beliefs and build on this state of non-conceptual awareness. Remember, in one of our very first classes, I said that happiness and suffering are states of mind. Therefore, the causes of happiness and suffering must come from within the mind. Happiness and suffering are states of mind. Therefore, the causes of happiness and suffering must come from within the mind. That is to say that the sources of suffering and our problems and our resentments and so forth don't come. The source is not phenomena in the external world. It's from within our own mind. And those sources of suffering are what we refer to as delusions in the meditation world. And when we are under the influence of our delusions, then we are deluded. We're deluded. And I got to tell you that the first time I heard that, that did not sit well with me. I was like, deluded? Who are you calling deluded? Deluded people who are deluded they're in padded rooms and stuff like that, institutionalized. I'm not deluded. But when I kind of hung in there and listened a little bit further, and somebody explained to me sort of how my confused way of perceiving the world was causing really all of my problems, all of my difficulties, thinking that other people, places, situations, and inanimate objects were making me unhappy. I'm an innocent bystander. I used to think that everything out there is the problem, not me. And I soon came to see that, yeah, that's delusional. I'm delusional. I'll own it. And so when we think about delusions, we can think of it as almost like being a pyramid going up to the top. Here are on the lower levels of the pyramid are what are known as secondary delusions. And then the next to the top row of the pyramid are two of the three root delusions. Okay, so there are rows along the bottom. Near the very top, there's the one next to the top that is composed of two blocks, if you will, two delusions. And then there's one at the very top of the pyramid from which all of the other delusions arise. And this morning, I'm going to introduce you to, well, it's not going to really be an introduction because I think everybody's familiar with it. But one of those two, what are called root delusions, almost at the very top, is aversion. Aversion. And the definition of aversion, also sometimes referred to as anger, the definition of aversion is a mind that focuses on an object, and you don't have to worry about writing this down. This is a lot of words with this definition. I'll email it to you all. The definition of aversion is a mind that focuses on an object, perceives it to be unpleasant, exaggerates its bad qualities, and wishes to be removed from the object, thinking that the object is the source of the perceiver's unhappiness. Longest definition in the history of definitions. A mind that focuses on an object, perceives it to be unpleasant, exaggerates its bad qualities, and wishes to be removed from the object or even harm the object, thinking that the object is the source of the perceiver's unhappiness. So aversion comes in a lot of different forms. It's sort of like somebody told me that the Inuits, the Eskimos have like 20 some different expressions for snow. There are like almost as many expressions that we Westerners have for anger. There's resentment, there is frustration, there is anxiety, fear over something that we think might happen, or aversion to something that we think might happen. There is abject rage and anger, like throwing things angry. And there's jealousy. Jealousy is a form of aversion, being angry about someone else's happiness. That's what jealousy is. So it's kind of one of the yuckier aspects of aversion if we stop and think about it. But it's one of the three root delusions. And in meditation, it is the first of the three root delusions presented because it is so overtly manifest and easy to recognize. We know when we're angry. We know when we're frustrated or resentful or irked. And we know that that causes us pain. Anger is a painful state of mind if we stop and look at it objectively. It transforms our appearance. It's hard on our body. I mean, our body becomes tense and rigid, and that's just like the skeletal muscular system. Who knows what's going on with the organs? Well, we can actually feel it in our organs too, in our stomach. Notice what happens when aversion arises within your mind, whether it's a more gentle, if you will, form of aversion, such as frustration, or abject, patent, throwing things enraged. It's painful. It's a painful state of consciousness, and it robs us from our inner peace. It robs us of the peace of that non-conceptual awareness that we were talking about before. And I think most of us know from experience that aversion also causes us to, it not only harms us, it often causes harm to those around us. We say things under the influence of anger that is not skillful, oftentimes not kind, harmful toward others. We do things, we engage in actions not just of mind, but of body and speech, that are harmful to those around us. When I reflect back on my life, so many of the really, really big mistakes that I've made in my life, not so many of them, I would say all of them without exception, have been when I have been under the influence of anger. And, and it's harmed a lot of people around me. And I have great, great regret for that. And it's that recognition of the harm that anger has caused me and those around me, some people who are the dearest to me of all. It's through that recognition of the consequences of anger in particular and aversion in general that I've resolved to eradicate it from my mental continuum. Not saying I've achieved it completely, but I've made progress. I've made progress on it, and that's good for me, and it's good for those around me. So, lest I leave you for this weekend with all of these thoughts on anger without any ideas of what to do about it, I'll let you know that there is an antidote to the mind of anger / aversion. And that is, well, in meditation, in the meditation texts, it's called patience. Patience is the antidote to anger. But patience for me, I'm talking subjectively now. This is my thinking mind at work. Patience kind of has a certain connotation to it. At least it does for me in the West. It's sort of like patience is kind of like gritting my teeth and putting up with something, Instead, I like to think of the antidote to anger being acceptance, accepting what is. And in fact, my main teacher uses this definition of patience: a mind that wholeheartedly accepts whatever arises, having abandoned the notion that things should be other than what they are. So it's like nectar. Those words are so beautiful. If just the prospect of being able to reach that state and remain in it, a mind that wholeheartedly accepts whatever arises, having abandoned the notion that things should be other than what they are. That's real definition of patience.
I have to ask a question when you get a chance.
Sure, go ahead.
Because that brings it up, that really brings it to light. I'm having a hard time understanding, and I totally see how most of life is in your head, so to speak, like you're describing. It is, how we view it and how we react to it and all of that. But let me give you an example, and maybe you could help me. There's several, but today I'm just going to do one. let's say I have a neighbor, okay? And that neighbor has 12 dogs,
Mhm.
coonhounds, and all they do is bark all day, all night, whatever.
Mhm.
And in order to enjoy my home, I need to go into the house and turn on music or something to drown out that. So that last, you prompted me when you said that last, accept how it is, not how you think it should be.
Mhm.
How do you do something like that under a situation like that?
Well, I am so grateful for your question. Thank you. And what I'm really grateful for is that it's a real life example. It's a real life example. I gave this, I talked about aversion at a class here in Silver City a few years ago. And somebody said, asked a question. They said, so you're telling me that if I walk out of this room and somebody comes at me with a crowbar and wants to hit me over the head, that I should just accept that? And I said, well, is like people accosting you with crowbars something that happens to you frequently? And she said, no. I was like, has it ever happened to you? No. So let's keep the teaching to where the rubber hits the road, just like you are, just like your real life example. And I got to tell you, it sounds like a challenging one. It surely does. So there are lots of different approaches that we can take. But I'm going, and I don't, it's 2 minutes past 10, so we don't have a lot of time to go into it.
You want to think about it and address it next time?
Well, I've got answers. I've got answers.
Okay.
I've got suggestions. I've got suggestions for you. But in the interest of time, I'm going to propose that we save them for, and we can talk about, we can dedicate the entire class on Monday to this example and different tools that we can apply. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. That's
Okay, great. And let's all think about it. That'll be our homework assignment over the weekend, is to think about the 12 dogs next door barking all the time example, and ways that we might be able to transform that situation and move from a place of anger
Frustration. Yeah, and
to
anger, yeah.
frustration to acceptance. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Thank you so much for that question. I love it. Denise, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Denise.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You guys have a great day. Thank you for being here. See you Monday, I hope. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.